What's up, guys? You are listening to HVAC Masters of the Hustle podcast, and this is your host, J-Dub Moneymaker, and welcome to episode 107. Woo, 107 in the books, you guys. First off, I want to say thank you for everyone that reaches out every week and truly tells me how this podcast brings you and your company to the next level. Also, for all my new listeners out there, this podcast is helping thousands and thousands and thousands of people get to the next level. So make sure you smash the subscribe button, as well as make sure you tell a friend in the industry, because we want to help them grow to the next level as well. And that for all of you guys that know, I have a training event coming May 27th and May 28th that you guys don't want to miss. So you guys can check out the website, www.hvacmastersofthehustle.com. That's masters with an S. And I'm super stoked about this podcast because a couple weeks ago, I was introduced to this gentleman, and he reminded me of myself when I was first a comfort advisor. And let me tell you guys, he has blown me out of the water. He's asked to be on the podcast, and he doesn't even need to ask because he earned it. I reached out to him and I said, dude, you're throwing out these huge numbers. I got to get you on. Let's welcome the Nathan Gough into the hot seat. How you doing, brother?
Doing good, J-Dub. What's going on, boss man? You doing all right?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. So I just got back from Alabama today. Just got off the flight, and here we are sitting together, giving some great content back to the industry, brother. Because first off, I got to say I'm super proud of you, man. Like,
thank you.
Just within the last month and a half of seeing your growth is just absolutely mind-blowing to me. First off, tell my listeners, who is Nate Dogg?
Well, I'm from Gay Lakes, Virginia. It's a little town pretty much in the middle of nowhere in Virginia. As Jason, you've probably seen, he posted some pictures out there online of us up in West Virginia riding. So that's kind of pretty much in the mountains in the middle of nowhere. I work out of Mount Airy, North Carolina. I have a wife, two kids, two beautiful children, and a beautiful wife. That's me. And then what Nate Dogg does, he's a sales guy out there doing his pretty much what I know now is hustling on the HVAC side.
There you go, brother. So how did Nathan get introduced to the HVAC industry? Because that's a story in itself right there.
So I started out when I was very young, at 16, 17 years old. I always had an attitude of wanting to do something business related, sales related, something like that. I just know what I wanted to do. So I ended up paying for college, started school. I went for probably a month and a half. I don't know if I lasted that long, and I dropped out of school for business. So I took the wrong road. Long story short, I went off to the military after I dropped out of college. I dropped out of school, went down the wrong road. Then I ended up going into the military. I did the military for 6 years.
And what did you do in the military?
So in the military, I was a mechanic. I had two jobs. So I had a diesel mechanic, and then I had a track mechanic. So I worked on tanks, and then I worked on heavy equipment. So I did both. And then after that happened, I got out of the military. Then I met my beautiful wife as of now, and then my two kids, and we're living it up. And then I actually started a heating and air business up here in Gay Lakes, Virginia. I was doing electrical, plumbing, and installing heat and air, making $9 an hour. So I thought that was kind of crazy that I was running 3 trades, making $9 an hour. Went to my boss and said, hey, sir, I got a baby on the way. And he said, I'll give you $1 raise. That was his remark to me. So I ended up making $10 an hour. So then from there, I proceeded to go into work in kind of similar to you, but not a cop. I was a corrections officer at a maximum security prison up here. I worked there for a while, and I was like, this still ain't for me. Well, all along people were like, you just need to be content. You need to be happy. Just stay where you're at. Just live. Just be good where you're at. Just stop.
Be content.
Just be content. Don't try to move on with your life. Don't try to move forward. Just be content for a little while and just stay where you're at. And I was like, nah, that just ain't who I am. So I don't know, it was kind of out of nowhere. I was like going through the internet, and I seen Jay's HVAC hiring. I was like, okay, they're hiring a technician. So I called it Jay's HVAC, which is where I currently work. And they said fill out an application online. Well, the applications online wasn't working. So I called right back as soon as they told me that. And I was like, hey, the application thing ain't working, but I want to put an application in right now. I'm ready. They said, all right, come in Monday. Well, it went 10 minutes later. Jamie Vaughn, which he was on 2 podcasts ago, I believe.
Yep.
He reached
Check
back
it out, 104.
Yep, 104. He reached out to me directly the same exact day that I called about it, which was on a Friday evening, and said, come in Monday for an interview. So I went in Monday for an interview. I didn't have nothing really except running 3 trades up here in Gay Lakes, Virginia, making $9 an hour under my belt, except some honor graduate stuff from the Department of Corrections, and then I had my military achievements I earned. So he said, come in for an interview. So I took all that stuff in that I had. It wasn't heat and air related, but it was something that I showed that I worked hard, I was dedicated, and I wasn't settled. And he liked it. He sent me off to school. The week he hired me, he sent me off to a week and a half long school. I got my universal refrigerant license the first week at that school, come back, and then it all hit the ground running from there. And I've been with Jay's for about 5.5 years now.
All right. So tell me a little bit, because when I was on site training, you kind of went in a little bit more depth in that. So when you went there and you showed them all your awards and honors and everything like that with the military, showing that you're a hard worker, he ended up giving you a test and you went home. Talk about that.
All right. Yeah. So Jamie gave me a test. Hopefully he remembers this. So I brought this test home, and I've got all my buddies back that I went to school with, my best buds. They're all in the heat and air, right? So they're all technicians. So I was like, man, I got this test in front of me. He's like, so we're going to figure out where we want to put you at on our scale here at Jay's. So I was like, question number 1, don't really know the answer to it. Question number 2, I still don't know the answer to it. Number 3, let's just call Jamie. So then I was like, all right, it's time to call Jamie. So I called Jamie back. I was like, hey, Mr. Vaughn, I said, this could go one of 2 ways. Either it's going to go good for me or it's going to go bad for me. I said, but I ain't going to lie to you. I said, I got buddies. They do heat and air. I could call and they could give me the answers to it. But in all reality, that'd be lying, and I ain't about it. So I'm just going to tell you, I don't know none of the answers to this test. And I said, so the bottom line, I said, hopefully I don't cost me my job, but I can't even take this test and even come close to passing. And I said, so if you want to work something out, let's work something out. But if we can't, I understand that respectfully. So that's kind of how it started. And then he offered me, after I told him that, he offered me the job. As soon as I came out and was just honest with him, he just offered me the job. And then I went in, like, the next day, he threw me a set of band keys and said, have at it. And I was like, what? I don't know what to do with it. He said, you'll figure it out. And there we are.
There you are. And as your progression, let's talk about that, okay? So you started in a truck. Where'd you go after that training?
So the training, I come back out of that and just did straight maintenance. That was all I done. I ran very few service calls. It was all pretty much maintenance is all I done. And then I progressed to some service. And at that time I was leaving with some military stuff I had to take care of. Then I came back early from that. And then that put me into being like a commercial manager for the company / inside sales. And then after that, I broke away into where I'm at now, which is the comfort advisor for Jay's HVAC.
Nice. And how long have you been a straight comfort advisor for?
A year and 6-7 months, something like that.
Year and 7 months. So a year and a half. So I want my listeners to understand this, because we're about to dig deep into this story right here with Nathan. He's only been in the industry for a year and a half. What were your numbers last year?
Last year, I hit 1.7 last year.
1.7. What was your closing percentage?
41%.
And what was your average ticket?
10,700.
Okay. And did you have a full year?
That's a full year there.
At 1.7. Okay. And what are you doing now?
All right.
So, I know that we're only the first quarter in, but I mean, you're dominating.
Oh yeah, I'm slaying right now. I ain't gonna lie about it. But so this quarter, I've ran 83 jobs. I've closed 41 of them, so that's 50% closing is where I'm at. I've done $633,343, and my average ticket's $15,500. That's where I'm at right now.
Nice. And what is your goal this year?
Oh, $3 million. You already know.
$3 million, baby.
$3 million.
And this is what he wants right here. So for all you guys watching that video of the podcast right now, this is a HVAC $3 million plus Spartan ring. So welcome to the Spartan Club. If you hit $3 million, which we know we will. So let me ask you, you dominating the first quarter, what have you changed from last year?
Really your mindset. So it all changed for me last year in September. So September of last year until December, the end of the year. So September of 2020 until December 31st, 2020, my numbers were like 700,000 from September to December. So my mindset switched. A big thing for me was I was carrying, if somebody didn't buy from me, I would take it personal, right? I would take it personal and I would really let it get the best of me. But what you got to realize is that it's a service business, right? So if you take the ICE, that's the way I look at it. Take the ICE off of service, you get served. And all you got to worry about is serving people before yourself. Mm-hmm. And if you'll serve others before you serve yourself, you reap what you sow. That's what I believe. So if you are a servant, you're going to reap the benefits of being a servant. But a customer, they're going to tell, or a client, they're going to tell whenever you're hungry and all you care about yourself. They got to be first. And once you realize that the client's first, it's over. They'll buy every time.
So talk to maybe some of my new comfort advisors listening to this episode that might beat them up, right? I mean, because at the end of the day, Nathan, we're our worst devil's advocate, right? So what are some things that you do outside of work to keep your mindset right?
Constantly reading. Like, I've never been a reader. Like in high school and elementary school, the teacher would say, take home a book and read it. I'd read the back of the book and hopefully I got the questions right. I didn't read the front. I didn't read no pages at all. But now I read, 2 books a month. I've got to hit 2 books a month every month. Podcast every day. And then I've got an office at the house. I mean, you don't have to have an office at your house, but I have one in my house. So I stay in there and I practice and a microphone, listen to myself back how I present. You just got to stay at it and you got to stay hungry. And you got to care about taking care of people. And that's why I love HVAC. You get to take care of other people and show them that you really care. And then in the end, it comes back to help you. And that's how the world should be. I help you, you help me, right? So the big thing is just stay in it and keep grinding. You can't be content. You can be content, but you can't be stagnant. You can't just not move. You got to keep trying to be better than the next person in the room, because if you don't, you ain't going to get nowhere.
Mm-hmm. And what are some trainings that you've done throughout the last 2 years that really helped you progress, get to the next level? Because I know you've had multiple trainings.
Say it again.
So I know that you have had multiple trainings. What have you done throughout your Comfort Advisor 1.5 years? And what are your big takeaways on those trainings?
The big trainings that I've had really is with you, man. To be honest with you, JW, you changed my whole mindset up. I went out and we ran calls together for 2 days. I watched you sitting there and fight, and I was always good at fighting, but I would stop early sometimes, like staying in the batter's box. So the big thing that I've learned is you can stay in the batter's box, you can keep talking to the client, and just keep hammering, and you know when to stop. There's a time and place you stop, and there's a time and place to keep going. You just got to figure that out. So that's what I'm the best at, I think, in myself, is reading people. I can tell if somebody's BS me or if somebody's really about to do business with me, and they're just trying to throw me 50,000 smoke screens in between that and the BS. So you just kind of got to do it. But the big thing with go ahead.
No, go ahead, Nate Dogg.
So the big thing with your training is going to be is when you get to the end of it, there's going to be no objections. And if you follow J-Dub's strategy, I'm telling you, if you follow his sales process to the very 1 through 8 on that check sheet he's going to give you, you will not have an objection at the end. I promise you, you will not, because you'll have it figured out at the very first time you sit at the table, and it's over. They will not give you one. I've not had an objection since he left.
Well, that's good. So let me ask you, I left about a month ago. What have your numbers been since you've left? Because I know you've had some dominating weeks where you sell more than what people sell in 1 week that they do in a month or two.
Yeah. So the month of March, you was there, I think the very first of March. So I did 53% is what I closed, and that's I would consider marketing leads. I closed 80% tech turnovers. 285, 164, so $285,164. That was going to be my total revenue for the month of March, and I did 15.8. That was my average ticket.
Nice. I mean, you're just out there dominating, man. And how important is it? You talk about serving your client, right? How important is it to really break down those walls? Or what are some of those things that Nathan does while he's in the house to the homeowner to build that rapport and build that relationship?
Well, first thing I do, is always you gotta read people, right? So that's what the mastering of the whole not really selling, I call it caring approach is, right? You got to watch how people they move, how they act. Selling's psychology more than it is anything. You got to be able to read people's minds, their brain, what they're thinking. But big thing I do is, I just walk in, see how they're reading me, see how they're feeling me, and try to see how they're feeding off of the atmosphere that I'm bringing into their home. Mm-hmm. And then I'll just watch and see how they kind of break me away. And they'll eventually lead me. I'll lead them to the table or they'll lead me to the table. But either way, once I get to the table or the place we're sitting down at, and then if I see that nice Chevrolet truck out in the driveway or that nice boat in the backyard or the nice deer on the wall or an elk or a moose I may not know anything about anything they've got in their house, but I'm going to act like I know everything about it. And that's just because that's how you're going to get the wall down. If you got to relate to what they relate with. And once you can relate to what they relate with, there's nobody that can come in between you and what you're up against, because at that point, you're their new best friend. So they just met from Jay's HVAC or whatever your heating and air company is. So if you're not breaking down the wall, you're not going to get to sell. But if you'll break down that wall, it's almost a given every time.
That's awesome right there, brother. And to my comfort advisors out there, I want you guys to understand, Nate, his first year did 1.7, right? Has a goal of almost doubling it, 3 mil. And he's already tracking it. He's changed his mindset. He's been someone that has never read before. And this year he's put goals in front of him every single day. And he's reading books. After hours, he's looking at YouTube videos. He's listening to podcasts. He's keeping his mindset right? Nathan, let me ask you, progressing in books. Let's talk about books real quick. You being someone that used to not read books to reading 2 books a month right now. What are you taking away from the knowledge that you're reading in these books?
It's really powerful stuff, Jason, to be honest with you, man. I mean, I do audiobooks because I'm one that can't sit there and physically sit. I can't sit still because I have ADHD, severe anxiety, and depression. I have all 3 of those. Anyway, it's another story. But so I can do audiobooks because it keeps me going, keeps me moving on my en route to my next call type stuff. So I always do that. So I just take little bits and pieces away from each book I read. Power Consistency by Weldon Long. That's the latest one I've read, and that's probably my favorite by far so far. That was a killer book.
Great.
Yeah, great book. Weldon Long. That's probably that's one of my next guys I got to meet. But anyways, so Weldon Long, Power Consistency. That's a good one. And then Sell or Be Sold, Grant Cardone. That was probably my second favorite one I've read so far this year. But I just take bits and pieces. I listen to a podcast. I may not understand it all from one podcast, but I guess learning disabilities I do have, I can take away part of that and store it in my brain. And then I listen to another book, and it'll give me a little information, and it'll hit, and it'll stick in my brain. And then I just stay on books and stay on stuff, and it just keeps going in my brain. And then when I walk into the house, it's over. I mean, the stuff I've learned, how to communicate, how to handle objections. I mean, they throw me an objection, I'm already ready to hit them back before they even get at it with me. So there's really no room for it. So it's powerful. If you're not reading, I'm telling you, if any comfort advisor out there is not reading, or you're not listening to podcasts, you're just staying where you're at, going and working 9 to 5 every day, I'm telling you guys, y'all are missing out on so much. This job is being a heating and air comfort advisor has changed my life and my family's life tenfold. I would never have thought heating and air conditioning would have done what this job has done for me and any of my family. I'm here to tell you. So you need to be reading, studying.
So Nathan, talking about how HVAC changed your life, right? I talk about this industry being a hidden gem, right? So tell my listeners, I mean, how has it changed you and your family's life?
Well, I mean, you go from paycheck to paycheck living. You always hearing people talking about they're living paycheck to paycheck. That wasn't me. That ain't what Nathan wanted. That wasn't what Nate Dogg wanted. So when I got the opportunity to take this job a year and 6-7 months ago, I always knew, I had it good as a service technician at working with Jamie because he took care of me. So it wasn't necessarily paycheck to paycheck there, but I knew when I got this job, the one that I have now, that was going to change my life. I could change my life forever as long as I listened to Jamie, listened to my podcast, listened to my books, and did what he taught me. So hats off to Jamie before I even started on this kick. Hats off to Jamie. He took me under his wing. I didn't know nothing, and he brought me to where I'm at now, along with the talent that the good Lord above gave me. So that being said, starting out, I got this job and I said, well, I've always heard about podcasts of these guys making 6 figures and making all this kind of big money, but Nate Dogg couldn't do that. Nate Dogg ain't going to do that. I didn't think I'd sell $1 million my first year, and Jamie looked at me and told me I was crazy. So
he said he wasn't going to keep you if you didn't sell $1 million.
Yeah. So long story short, I was the fastest one in company history last year. I hit $1 million by like July of last year in 2020, my first year. Nobody in company history ever done that. And then also my first year in HVAC sales as a comfort advisor, I did over 6 figures my first year. I did $125,000 my first year. And I'm on track this year for $200,000. So
woo!
We can do it. I mean, you can do what you want with it. You can do what you want with it. It's up to you.
Absolutely, brother. And with making that type of money comes hobbies, right? And I know that you got some cool hobbies as well. I got the opportunity to actually join him and Jamie when I was out there. We drove to West Virginia, and they took me side by side, and I was so addicted, I came back and bought a brand new Can-Am. So tell my listeners a little bit about your hobbies and why you do that, and why, going up there in the mountains is something that's important to you.
Well, the first reason I do what I do ultimately is for my 2 beautiful children and my beautiful wife that I have. And then after that's going to be my hobby. So that's going to be, either hunting, fishing, but really it's 4-wheeling. That's our family hobby. We go to West Virginia, we get out, we go riding every weekend. That's just to clear my mind. If you're a comfort advisor and you're really, if you're at that level, like where not average, but you're at that level, like where you want to be the best, you're going to have a lot of stress on you, and you're going to have to figure out a way to deal with your stress. So if you're not going to the gym, which I do, but if you're not going to the gym, or if you're not finding some kind of hobby or something to break away from that on the weekends, you're going to kill yourself. So I have to go to West Virginia on Saturdays and Sundays. That gets my mind off of work. I don't even think about selling an air conditioner or a heating system while I'm gone. But then when I get back Sunday evening, put my kids in for bed, get my mind right, wake up the next morning and go to work. Monday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday I need to be, but Monday through Friday it's grind. Friday, whenever I get off, maybe 5, maybe 8. It don't matter. Then we can go play. But Monday through Friday you got to grind, and then Saturday and Sunday let's go break away and have a little fun. So that's how we do it.
Nice. And we mentioned a little bit about your goals and everything like that, which is absolutely amazing. But Nate Dogg, I got to talk about how often are you putting your goals in front of you? You're writing them down. I mean, how often are you looking at this stuff? Talk to my listeners.
I think about it every second of the day, look at it every second of the day, breathe it every second of the day. If you ain't got goals, you ain't going to go nowhere. You're going to stay where you're at. You got to have something to reach for. So every day I'm consistently looking at what's my next goals. Right now my main goal is staying. We're looking at a house right now, selling our house, and I'm trying to find my I guess you'd say dream house with my land, and working around my side by side on my land. And then I got my kids out in the yard, roaming around out in the woods, just having their own thing. So that's kind of my dream goal right now. That's my family goal. And then I've got my personal / business goals over here, which are last month I done it. Nobody ever hit nobody's ever hit 285. The highest that ever been hit at Jay's was 260. in 1 month, and I hit 285. So I broke that one already. So there's the third goal down at Jay's knocked out. And then I got my
all of a sudden, all their goals is just going to be Nate Dogg, Nate Dogg, Nate Dogg, Nate Dogg.
Yeah, and that's
you're
why
going to crush all the records.
That's why I want it. I want to be the best, J-Dub, and that's not me being cocky because I'm very humble. I'm a very humble guy. You met me.
Oh, absolutely, you're humble.
But I do have a, I got a hunger inside of me that's not going to go away until I get what I want, and that's going to be, my dream stuff for my family, provide a life for my kids that they want to have, and then I want to reach my goals, which are $3 million salesman, $4 million salesman, and then I want to be a sales manager. And then we'll see where life takes me from there. Because after I hit 4 million, I want to teach somebody else how to hit 4 million. And then we'll see where life takes me after that. But right now we're still grinding.
Absolutely, man. So it sounds like 3 million this year, 4 million next year, sales manager position. And then you want to have the opportunity to teach, help people grow, get to that next level.
Yeah. So people inside of Jay. So Jay's HVAC is going to be so big. We're going to have other sales guys in there, and I'm going to have to manage the other sales guys within Jay's HVAC, but they're going to have to learn how Nate Dogg did the things because they're not going to know how to do it like I did. So I'm going to show them how I do it, and then we're going
to Absolutely, man. Well, Nate Dogg, I got listeners from business owners, installers, dispatchers, CSRs. What would you like for them to get out of this episode of HVAC Masters of the Hustle?
Always grind. I'm telling you guys, this is to the early new coming comfort advisors, technicians, anybody out there. This ain't nobody that's been in it forever and a day. This is people that's never done it. Tell yourself you can do it every day when you wake up, when you get out of your bed and you put your shoes on, and you'll do it. But for every excuse you make, you're going to fail. Always put excuses behind you. Learn from what you do wrong, and move forward and keep pushing forward. Don't let nobody tell you can't do something. If I'd have listened to people a long time ago, I wouldn't have been where I was at today. So never let somebody tell you can't do it. You can do whatever you want.
Oh man, I love that. And this is why I have Nate on the podcast, because him and I, we had that same story. Learning disabilities, right? Everyone telling us you can't have this level of success, and us just saying, you know what? We hit 6 figures, 100,000. We hit 200,000, or that's his goal for next year. I hit 200. I hit 300. This is things that I never thought, as well as Nate Dogg never thought. So for my listeners out there, keep your mindset right. Keep grinding. Keep those goals in front of you every single day. Nate Dogg, thank you very much, man. I'm absolutely an honor to have you in the hot seat, man. You're going to go so far. Keep that mindset right, brother.
Hey, J-Dub, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, man. Until next time.
All right.
Awesome.